You won't believe the amazing feature that this builder put in their living room area of this amazing model home we're at today. We are in one of Jacksonville's newest and hottest communities. It is one of the premier communities that people are moving to and living here in Jacksonville. So that being said, let's not waste any time and get into this home tour of this amazing model home. All right, so starting right off, I gotta be honest, I love the fact that they did this black trim with the white hardy board. It's something we don't see very often, and I don't normally actually like that, but I love the contrast here of the black and the white. It just really gives it a very modern kind of look that we don't see very often. As you'll see though, when we first come up, we do have the nice pavered front porch, a little bit of a seating area as well. So not the largest front porch that we've seen, but still nice to have across the board. And it does give us a nice entryway as we come into the home. So as you come in, the first thing you're gonna notice is you get greeted with these super tall ceilings. They're probably about 20 feet, maybe more tall, because they left it open to the second story. So I love when the builder does that because it does make the space feel bigger when we first come into it. Now, as we come into, you're gonna notice that we have our first bedroom and bathroom right from the jump. So with the first bedroom, this bedroom is going to be right next to obviously that front porch. And as you'll see here with this bedroom, it's a great size space, very large. The higher ceilings definitely make it feel bigger. And in addition, one thing that you'll notice too as we show off the space is they did, with their closets, they did the sliding closet doors. So I personally love when they do the sliders for the closets because they don't break as often. They still can, but they definitely hold up much better than that typical bifold door that you may typically see for homes either here in Jacksonville or other parts of the country. Another cool little aspect they did here too, they did do the wall sconces. That's gonna be one of those things that's definitely gonna be an upgrade with the builder, but it shows you what you can do with it. And as you can see here, we have our nightstands, our queen size bed, and our dresser, just to highlight just how much stuff you can fit in this space with it still feeling nice and wide and open. Then it takes us to our first bathroom. So this bathroom, I will say I do like the look of it as well. We have the single vanity here. Again, continuing that theme from the outside, we have our white countertop with our black cabinets. So a nice contrast there to continue that theme. And then we do have our nice tile floor. We have our tile enclosure, which looks to be the same tile as the floor. And we have our seamless glass enclosure with it. So overall, it's a very clean look across the board. Now the builder will normally offer up the ability to go with the tile to the ceiling. Could be an upgrade, could be a standard for this builder. You won't know though, unless you reach out to me. So as we look at this video, if there's anything you have questions on, anything you wanna know more about for this neighborhood, this community, this builder, this floor plan, you can call me, text me, email me. I'm always here to help answer any all questions you may have. And then also just something that's minor, but we do also have our coat closet because we live here in Florida where sometimes it gets a little bit cold here. Sometimes it's good to have a place to store your coats for the occasional day or two that gets a little bit cooler here that you want to have them on. And with that now being said though, let's go ahead and check out more of this amazing floor plan. So the next parts of this house is going to be parts that I do think serve a lot of purposes. It's not what you see behind me, so don't look over there. We'll get there in a second. But it's actually gonna be our office here. And the office, as you can see, it's an open office. You most definitely could close it in with French doors. Whether if you do that with the builder or after the fact, you do have options there. Obviously, there'll be a cost either way, but you can definitely do it. And as you can see here with this office space, it is a great size space. I mean, we have, two oversized chairs in here with an end table. We have a nice oversized desk here right in the middle, and they included multiple bookshelves as well with the space. So really just highlight just how large of an office this is. So again, if you're someone who's gonna be working from home and you need to have an at-home office, this could be the floor plan for you, but you won't fully know unless you reach out to me to find out more about it as well. Now, in addition, they do have the recessed lighting in here. They have the crown molding trim around it as well. You still do get the one window to provide natural light, and the fixture here could be swapped out for a ceiling fan as well, if you so desire. So quite a bit to offer there. And then as we continue the other side, they did do a little bit of a stairwell here to go upstairs. And over here, we do have our laundry room. including also with the laundry room. We also have some additional storage underneath the stairwell. Nice to have. You know, one of those things that it's nice when the builder incorporates that into the floor plan, just to give you some additional storage, because you can never have too much of it here in Jacksonville. Now, as you can see here, really good sized laundry room. Still have the taller ceilings, which is always nice. We also have the washer dryer next to each other. You would still have room to do a sink if you desired it. In this case, the builder just didn't do it for their model, but most definitely, I am sure it's an option you could do with them. You just gotta reach out to me to find out what that cost may look like. So overall, good sized space, very light and bright throughout the space. And the last thing I wanna highlight with this little section is actually our door here to our garage. Now, normally I wouldn't highlight the garage, but in this case, I do wanna just quickly point out that they did do the epoxy here to show you what you could do with the builder when you're building with them, or even what you could do after the fact. Because again, doing the epoxy on the floor, it really does make the space feel more high-end. It really gives a nice, you know, better look across the board. And it does actually protect the concrete over time, as well as, you know, just is a nice space to put your vehicles on in general. So normally we would maybe go check out the kitchen, living room, and the rest of the house down here, but let's actually change it up a little bit and let's go upstairs and just see what the second story has to offer. All right, so now we are on the second story of this amazing floor plan. And one thing right away I want to point out, the builder up here actually continued the same flooring that we saw downstairs. So this is going to be more of your, you know, luxury vinyl plank flooring. And it's kind of crazy. I mean, it's vinyl, but you wouldn't think of it as a typical vinyl like back in the day. You know, it's a very, you know, high-end look to it. And again, I love the fact that they did that lighter brown color, because something that we're starting to see builders do more across the board is they're going away from the grays. They're going sometimes away from the darker colors, and they're going with more of that lighter brown again, which really makes the space feel light and bright, especially when you have all these windows as well to bring in all that natural light into the space. Now up here, we're gonna have our loft. And the loft, it serves a great purpose because it allows you, if you have kids and you're looking for a home for you and your kids, it really allows the downstairs living room maybe more space for you and your significant other. Whereas upstairs could be for the kids, especially if they have friends over to be able to hang out in, and gives them their own space separate from your space downstairs, but still gives you also the ability to have everyone downstairs as well if you want. But it does give you options, which I always love having options. As you can see here, it's a nice, you know, L-shaped sectional couch. So really good size to kind of show you just how big of a space this is. In addition, we do have this foosball table here to kind of, you know, show it off as like a game room, so to speak. And really the foosball table, it doesn't serve much more of a purpose than otherwise than just showing you just how much stuff you can fit in up here. Now, as we continue on through, you'll notice here is our opening to our downstairs first floor. Again, I love how they did that. Even though it's not a huge opening across the board, it definitely does just makes the downstairs feel bigger. Honestly, makes the upstairs feel a bit bigger too over here, because when we came up here, you may have noticed the ceiling height did come down some, which does happen a lot of times with these homes where they can't or won't go as high in the ceilings as what you see downstairs. Now over here, we have two bedrooms flanking the bathroom. And with this first bedroom, they definitely designed it more as the girls' room with the unicorn, with the pink purple wall. But overall, it does kind of show you again how you could utilize the space as well as the overall size of the space. So here we still have our sliding doors for our closets. We still have one nightstand with a desk and a dresser and a queen size bed. So definitely can still fit quite a bit in here, which is good to see, because when you're starting to look at like that third bedroom, fourth bedroom, maybe sometimes fifth bedroom of a home, it's important to kind of know what you're working with size-wise across the board. Now this one, they actually did the bunk beds in, which, to be honest, sometimes that could mean that perhaps the room's a little bit smaller. So they want to utilize the bunk beds instead of a queen size bed to make it feel just as big. But overall, still a good size space across the board, because even though they utilize the bunk beds, they still give us this really, you know, cool little kids table to just show you that you can still fit more stuff in it. You do still have a couple nightstand end tables, and you still have the dresser. But the one difference with this bedroom is we actually do have a walk-in closet here. So it's one of those things that you still do get some space for that in this bedroom. So two of the bedrooms, you get the sliders, you know, typical, like pretty standard size closet space. And then this one, we get the walk-in, which is a huge bonus to be able to have at least for one of the bedrooms. So even if the bedroom is a little bit smaller than the others, at least you get the walk-in to make up for it. Then we come into the bathroom upstairs. Again, similar as the bathroom downstairs, we have the white quartz countertops with the black cabinets. Similar tile, if not the same tile as downstairs. Same for the walls of the shower, but in this case, they gave us the shower tub combo instead of the walk-in shower like we had downstairs. Now, the reason for that is that you ultimately always want to have at least one tub in a house, whether if you're buying new or you're buying a pre-existing. Having one tub in a home is very important across the board because it allows you, if you have a family or if the next person has a family, it allows them to be able to, give their kids a bath. They have animals, they can give their dog a bath, stuff like that. So when you get rid of the tub there, you don't have a tub in a house, you may be limiting yourself on who's gonna be the next person to buy the house. So it's just something to take into account. And again, you can always call me, text me, email me if you wanna know more about why that's so important as well. So next up, let's go ahead and now get to the part of the house that I'm sure you've been dying to see, which is the kitchen and the living room. All right, so now, as you've been waiting for, is the common area of the house. It's our general living space, our kitchen. And here's the cool part. You could think like, okay, this must be the dining room and they just don't have it set as a dining room. No, there's a whole nother spot for the dining room in this overall living room. So what's really cool with this space is you actually have a kitchen, you have a living room, you have a dining room. You also have a whole nother area that you can use for whatever you want. Now, the way they have this stage, it's almost kind of like more of like a cocktail or like a whiskey kind of area. So again, if you like to host gatherings with friends and you guys like to drink a lot of different whiskeys or bourbons or even potentially different wines, really like the cases across the board, it really gives you a nice sophisticated space here to be able to entertain people. And that's not to say you have to do it that way, but it's cool that they actually designed it that way to show you what you could do. You obviously have the recessed lighting with it as well, so different things you can do with it. Then we get to the kitchen. Now, right away, I can tell you, I absolutely love these countertops. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments section if you want to share them. What are your thoughts on these countertops? These are still probably gonna be a quartz countertop, but they actually look almost more like a granite countertop because you get some more movement with it. It's not maybe as basic as some of the other countertops you sometimes see with quartz. So overall, I love what they did with this. And it's not a white, it's almost like a lighter gray, beige kind of white, but it pairs so well with the rest of the finishes here in this kitchen and here in this house. So overall though, you'll see right away, we have our fridge when we first come in. We have tons of cabinetry here. Would have been cool to see them do the cabinetry up to the ceiling. I'm sure you could do it with them. With a build, they just didn't do it for this model. They do have the solid wood cabinets with the soft close. And again, if you know me, you know I like the soft close. It just gives it a higher end look. Way less ability to accidentally slam a door or a drawer. So I just personally like it. And then the backsplash, really nice touch. It's like a herringbone kind of tile that they did there. Really just gives it a sophisticated look as well to pair with the other aspects of this house. Then you'll see here too, we have our gas stovetop because we are in a gas community today. So there's not a ton of gas communities here in Northeast Florida, here in Jacksonville, although we are starting to get more of them. So it's really cool to be able to have these gas communities because again, if you're coming here from up north or out west and you're used to cooking with gas, that wasn't always a guarantee here in Jacksonville. Well now, there's a lot more communities to choose from that have it, including the one we're in today, which you'll find out more about that as we go through this video, but I do love to see that. Then we do have our microwave oven combo. This most likely could be changed out for a double oven if you so desired at Design Center or Structural Design. But again, cool to see that as well, just nice to have across the board. And we also do have our pantry here, which is a solid size pantry. It's enough space, across the board for this size of house. And then it brings us to our dining room. Oh, another really cool little thing. It's very minor, but I do want to bring it up. They even include some cabinetry on the side over here. which is not something you see too often. But the way I look at it is you can never have too much storage space. You can never have too much cabinet space. So I love to see that as well. Then we get to our actual dining room. So like I mentioned, this is the dining room. Now you could always rearrange it. You can make up their dining room. But here we do have the recessed lights. We do have the spot there for your light fixture, however you want to design it. And here we have a 6-seater table. But here's the cool part. This table may actually be a little bit on the smaller side. That doesn't always happen when we're doing these walkthrough tours of these model homes, but I love to see that because realistically, you could easily do an 8-seater table, maybe even a 10-seater table, depending on what kind of table it is. So if you do like a circular table here, you probably could fit a lot more people at it than you may expect. And the way that they designed this definitely does highlight the fact that there is more space to work with. And as you can see here, we still have plenty of natural light to that beautiful backyard, which we'll get to in just a moment as well. But then we end on with our living space, our living room. In the living room, it is a great size space across the board. Obviously, it's open to our dining room, it's open to our kitchen, it's open to our additional living space over here. And one of the things I love most about this is they do have the tray ceiling in here. And if I hadn't highlighted yet, not just with the tray, but also with this whole space, they do have that crown molding throughout, which definitely does give it, again, a more high-end feel, and definitely just makes the space feel more complete across the board. So the tray ceiling's a nice touch. They did do the recessed lighting with the tray, and the tray definitely does make it feel larger. But overall, it's a good size space, as highlighted with the L-shaped sectional couch. And you could easily do a bigger couch here and still not feel too crammed with the way that it's laid out. So overall, I love when the builders design their living space like this because it really does give you a great idea of just how you could design the space yourself if this is the floor plan you were to choose. Now, next up though, let's go ahead and check out this backyard as well as the summer kitchen that's back here with it. All right, now we go from the inside to the outside, and out here, the biggest thing I want to highlight is again the summer kitchen that they have. But before we get to that, obviously you can see we have a nice pavered back patio, and part of it's covered too, which is nice because if you wanted to screen it in, you definitely could. In this case, the builder did leave it wide open, so that way you can kind of see what it looks like without the screen. But overall, what screening in does, it definitely does take some of the elements out of the equation. So again, during some times of the year, we may get a little bit of bugs here and there, especially if you back up to a lake. So having that screened-in enclosure may make the space more usable for you during some parts of the year. But out here for the non-screened area, what I really like and what I think is a very cool feature is they do have the gas fire pit. So it's one of those things that if you want to be able to host people, during some of the cooler months here, you want to be able to hang out outside, fully enjoy and fully be able to use your backyard. It's a cool little feature to have there just to be able to be able to host people, get some s'mores going, and just be able to really fully utilize everything. Then on this side here is going to be our outdoor kitchen. So the outdoor kitchen, we do have some granite countertops. Now these granite countertops, it's very nice, darker like black finish with it, which again, highlights and matches the finishes they did with the house with the black trim and the white hardy board exterior. So there's a continuation of that theme there, which I love when a builder kind of continues that for their homes. As far as here, we do have our gas grill. Now this is a Somerset gas grill. They do have the vented hood with it as well, which is a nice touch. Typically you want to make sure you have that in place. So really it's just a nice combination there to where if you want to be able to, get some steaks on the grill, get some burgers on the grill, it's great to have that out here and then still be able to host without having to go back inside. So I love when you can kind of bring the inside to the outside without losing too much. And then they do have a little mini fridge here, and we also have our trash. So pretty well thought out across the board to make sure you had all the essentials that you need out here. But that's not going to end our tour of this amazing floor plan. There still is more to see. And maybe one of the things that you want to see the most is just going to be that primary bedroom. So let's go ahead and check out the primary right now. All right, so with the primary, as you walk in, you're gonna notice they actually kind of create like a little L-shape indentation there. So that way you get more privacy. You're not just walking right into the primary straight from your living room and your dining room. But as you'll see when we come in here, absolutely amazing space. I love the finishes they chose in here. I love honestly the way that they designed it with the furniture pieces to really tie in the blacks and the whites to match the rest of the aesthetic of the home. But overall, things that I absolutely love that I want to point out is they still continue that crown molding throughout. We do have tons of recessed lighting here as well. They even did some nice wall trim as well, just to kind of give you more of an accent wall pattern with it without changing the color of the walls. So it's still more of a white color. And you do still get plenty of natural light here with the windows as well. So just really well thought out, really well done across the board. Obviously having that vinyl flooring throughout is a nice touch too. You know, having no carpet in this house is really impressive, at least for most of the house. And then it takes us to our primary bathroom. So the primary bathroom here, I do like that it kind of opens up on you. You know, some of these bathrooms that we go in, you know, it's very much just a straight, you know, front to back, you know, not super wide. But this one, they did a good job of keeping it nice and wide. We do have our shower when we first come in here with the glass enclosure across the board. Now, one thing I would like to have seen is the tile up to the ceiling, but it still kind of shows what you can do. And, you know, you still have the area here. You could sit down if you needed to. If you need to put some of your toiletries there, you could as well, although they do give us a nice ledge here for that exact purpose. Overall, though, really well designed. As you'll notice too with the double vanity is it does match the other vanities. So it's gonna be that white countertop with the black cabinets. And because of the amount of space they have in here, they even were able to kind of fit in, you know, some additional pieces here for more storage across the board. So you have that, you have your linen closet here. So never can have too much storage, never can have too much for, you know, linens. And then it takes us to our primary closet, which is relatively speaking a good size. You know, I would love to have seen some custom closets in here to see what they could have done with the space. But that being said, it is still really all you need to really fit everything you know, all your clothes you need to have for a home like this. So really well designed and well thought out floor plan across the board. But overall, you know, that's gonna kind of finish off this amazing walkthrough. So you may be asking yourself now, okay, Justin, you know, where are you at today? Why should I consider the neighborhood you're in to begin with, or this floor plan that I don't even know the name of? Well, those are some great questions, and we're gonna get into that right this second, as well as what it truly means to live in here in Jacksonville, Florida. All right, so what did you think about this amazing floor plan that we've just walked through? What was your favorite feature? I'd love to know that. You know, feel free to drop in the comments, or honestly, give me a call, a text, an email, and let me know just what you thought was the most amazing thing about this house. Because, you know, for me, honestly, I like this little cafe area over here because we don't see it very often. And something that is very unique for me to have a space that's separate from the living, the dining, and the kitchen, but still be a part of the whole space entirely. So realistically, it's something that I think is cool, but I'd love to know what your thoughts are as well. And again, if you like this floor plan, you want to know more information about it, you got to reach out to me so I can help answer any and all questions you have about this floor plan, this builder, or this neighborhood that we're in today. Now, speaking of that, we are in the Landings, which is one of Northeast Florida, one of Jacksonville's newest and hottest master plan communities. And this specific community is being built by Pulte Homes. And what's really cool about this community with Pulte Homes is that even though it's a master plan community and you get all these amazing amenities with it, it has the feel of a much smaller community because it's only going to be about 1,300 homes once it's all said and done. So it has that ability to give you all the things that some of these other big communities give you, but you don't feel like you're just a number and you don't feel like you're in this massive community by any means. So it's much more private in that sense. And what's also cool about it is all their neighborhoods within this master plan community of the Landings are also gated. So if you're looking for a gated community to live in, they do have that available to you. Or if you're looking to find a place where you could also find a place maybe for your parents or grandparents depending on their age, what's really cool with it as well is we also have the Del Webb section here in the Landings, which is still built by Pulte, but that's gonna be a 55 up section, a part of the overall community, but separate from, you know, the rest of the community as well. So it kind of gives you a little best of both worlds if you want to be all conveniently located together. But overall, what I love about this community of the Landings is you are so conveniently located to a lot of other shopping, restaurants, and cities nearby to be able to go to for the area. So here in the landings, we are going to be roughly 45 minutes or so from the beaches. So we are a little bit further away from the beaches. So if you don't want to be too close, maybe you maybe have read things or seen things about hurricanes, and that just makes you want to be more inland. Well, first of all, you don't have anything to worry about out there either to some degree, but that's for a whole other video. But overall, you do have that ability to be more inland here, so you're not going to be as close to the coastline as you would be in some of the other master plan communities that you may or may not have seen us do here on this channel as well. So that can be a big bonus, but you're 45 minutes away from the beach. You're about 45 minutes away from the St. John's Town Center, which is like the hub of Jacksonville, where a lot of restaurants and shopping are, but you do have closer restaurants and shops as well. You're going to be about an hour, maybe a little bit over that to get to the airport or to get to the Jacksonville Zoo, or maybe even to get to downtown to go to like a Jacksonville Jaguars football game or Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp baseball game, but still well within a decent distance to get there. And then as far as major cities, what I love about Jacksonville is that you are so conveniently located to where if you want to make a trip to Savannah, you're only a couple hours away. If you want to make a trip to Orlando, you're same thing, about 2.5 hours. If you want to go to Atlanta, 6 hours, Miami, 5 hours, Tampa, 4 hours. So the thing about it is you have that ability to not necessarily have to worry about living in such a big city like those cities. So you still get that small town feel here in Jacksonville, but you're also not too far away to where you can't make a weekend trip out of it to go to Orlando, for instance, with family, to go to Disney or to go to Universal. So you have a lot of things at your disposal for that when living here in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, as far as the floor plan we're in today with Pulte, this is their Coral Grand floor plan. So the reason they call it the Coral Grand is because it has that second story. So with any of their floor plans, if you ever see Grand after it, it just means that they do have a one-story floor plan version of it as well. So if you are watching this video and you love the first floor layout, but you don't need that second floor, well, that's the best thing about this, is that they do have a single story floor plan as well for you. Because if you're like me, you don't like dealing with stairs, so you typically may want to prefer just a single level floor plan as well. But with this Coral Grand floor plan, this is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom floor plan. It's around 2,800 square feet, just a tick over 2,800. And here's the crazy part. The price of this floor plan starts in the mid 500s. So that's a great starting price to get 2,800 square feet here in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, obviously those prices are always subject to change, so that mid 500s could go up, it could go down. Most likely it'll go up before it goes down, obviously, but it's still a great way to start off here in this amazing community. In addition, right now, Pulte is offering some pretty amazing incentives across the board for any of their floor plans that you buy with them here in the landings. Now, again, as I already mentioned with the price, the same thing is the case with incentives. It is always subject to change. So if you want to know what they are right this second, you have to reach out to me with a call, a text, an email so I can get those for you as well. But right now, they are currently offering $50,000, $60,000, or $70,000 depending on the size of home you buy and the lot it's on towards design center options. So that is a great way to be able to get some of these amazing features in a house like the one we're in today without having to necessarily pay for it yourself, because Pulte is covering the cost for a lot of those amazing design features. In addition, they sometimes are offering some discounts on their lots. So that's something that you need to reach out to me on to find out more about that. And to make it even better, when you use their lender, they also will cover up to 3% of your closing costs and prepaid. So even more savings for you across the board. So that's just one of those things that builders don't always give you all those additional incentives. So it's important to know what each builder is offering at any given time. In this case, I would say Pulte is offering some of the best incentives I've seen here in Jacksonville as of late. But again, if you want to know what all it is currently, you got to reach out to me. In addition, if you like this video, make sure you like it on YouTube. Make sure you also subscribe to our channel so you can see more videos like this. But even more so than that, if you want to see additional model home tours that we've shot, at the end of this video on the screen will be additional links to some of the other amazing model homes that we have been able to go through and show off to you, the audience. And with that being said, I will see you guys again on our next model home tour.